Start with your funeral. What do you want to be remembered as? What do you want people to say about you?
Gosh,
and so when you
good.
start there, what is it if I go and I work a 9-to-5 job and there's no purpose in it? If we're talking about purpose, right? We know that already. I think as teachers, you already know your purpose. Most teachers know that that's what they're supposed to do. It's really hard,
For sure.
but they know that they have a calling to do it.
What is your why? What is it and why is it so important?
My why is always the kids.
Mm-hmm.
I find the most joy from going out in the hallways and standing in the mornings as kids come in. So the why is always the kids. You need to recognize that it's okay to feel tired.
That's it.
It's okay.
Carrie.
You're not alone.
That's it.
Find some people, find positive people.
There it is.
Avoid the people who are going to bring negativity to your life. Find the people who know their purpose is for the kids. We have to know that we are impacting kids. And so recognizing that power is within us and we can change lives with that. We all could say there's a teacher that had a positive impact on us. And knowing that could be you. You could be that person for that kid.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining. It's Kathy Tullian. I'm so thrilled to have you on our podcast. It has been such an honor to continue this series called The Ripple Effect of a Teacher. And today I'm joined by an incredible educator and friend, Carrie, who has been an educator for over 20 years. I know she started when she was 2, right, Carrie?
Right, two. Yes,
I
yes.
started when I was 3, but Carrie started when she was 2. So spent time in the classroom as a fellow English teacher.
Yes.
So I have ultimate respects for that. And now, of course, as an administrator at her school. So I'm thrilled and honored to have her today. What we're going to touch on today is remembering, or really stories that keep us going. The kind of things that keep us going. Hi, if you've watched this podcast for more than 10 minutes, you know that I've said this more than once. Doing what we do is not easy.
No.
No. And I know everybody out there in every job that they are would say, well, my job's not easy either. We didn't say it was. We didn't. I've never been a doctor and done surgery. I can't imagine that's easy. But this podcast is about educators. So therefore, we're going to talk about our world. So thank you for joining me today.
Thank you
I'm
for
thrilled
having
to have
me.
it. So Carrie, I've not asked anyone this guest yet, and I'm ready to hear it. Ready?
Okay.
Tell me your story that puts you here.
My mom would say that I was born to be a teacher, and that was because when I was in elementary school, I would come home from school and I would go upstairs and I would play school. And if a friend was mean to me, they would be in trouble in my pretend school. And so she always said that.
Funny.
She always said that.
That's
But
funny.
she always thought I would work with elementary. And, I went in as high school. I had a great English teacher. And I always, since I could start reading, I always had a passion for reading. It was one thing that my mom spoiled me with. We would go to used bookstores and I could always get a book. That was just always a treat. And so my passion for reading has always been there. I would say I fought it a little bit later in high school. I thought I would go a different direction. I actually thought about political science. I would say a couple things that drew me into education. I was very involved in student council in high school. And so getting that opportunity to work with kids, besides being in the classroom, getting to do some of these other things, I thought that would be pretty neat. And so I think I fought it because I think we all sometimes go through that phase where we fight or we think, oh, I want to make a lot of money. And
That's it.
Yeah.
I was going to say, that's why we fight it, isn't it?
Yes,
Somebody
yeah.
somewhere along the way, we start looking at the money and we think,
Right.
do I want to do this forever? Right.
Yes. So I would say I fought it for a little while. But once I started, I knew God built me to be a teacher. And I would say that even when I was going to college, I worked at a daycare and I worked with the kids who came to the daycare after school. So I've always worked with kids. I babysat, then I did that during college. So I've always worked with kids, all ages.
But younger ones.
Yes, I've always worked with, I love kids. I mean, I'm the
Right.
person who's playing with all the kids at church.
Right.
I mean, I'm easily distracted by children. So.
Thanks for being a part of the Tools for Success podcast. At Tools for Success, we believe every student deserves a classroom where learning thrives. That's why we partner with schools to equip teachers and administrators with practical, research-based professional development that makes a real difference. From mastering classroom management to building data-driven strategies, Our programs empower educators with tools and confidence to transform challenges into success. The result? Engaged teachers, supported leaders, and students who are prepared for the future. It starts with one conversation. So let's chat. Go to toolsforsuccessindy.com and click on schedule conversation, and let's see what we can do to help your students thrive. Now, back to our podcast.
And so I started teaching. I love teaching. It was always a passion. And then I stayed home for 10 years. When I was pregnant with my second, I stayed home, and God works in very strange ways. So when my oldest was getting ready to go to junior high, I thought where he was going to go to school, which is where I am now, I thought, well, I'll go in and sub a little bit to see how things run. It was really a spy mission. It really was. It was a spy mission.
To check out the school?
To check out the school, to really see the inside of the school, to see if this is what we were going to do with all three of our kids. So
because it was the oldest.
Yes.
Gotta.
My poor oldest son. So I went into the dean to say, hey, I'm a former English teacher. I'd be happy to sub for you. And in that moment, now that school hasn't even started yet, in that moment, he says, well, we have a maternity leave this fall in the English department. And at this point, I'm thinking that I'm getting ready to send my youngest to kindergarten. So I'm thinking I'm going to have that life of, I'm going to learn how to play tennis finally in my life. I'm going to go to lunch, with friends.
I'm going to go to lunch.
Whatever that is.
Sandals. That's right. I'm going to have a life.
Right, exactly. Whatever that looks like. And so I was kind of hit with the, wait a minute.
No, I was thinking once or twice a
yes,
month
exactly. So I covered the maternity leave, and I loved the school, and I loved being in the school. And on my very last day, I was going to go in the office to tell everyone goodbye. And they pulled me in and they said, well, the teacher just quit. She's staying home with her baby. and I had a kindergartner at the time. And so I said, I'll stay, but I want to be free for one class so that I can have a little extra time with my little one. Because it was a half-day kindergarten. So I stayed, and I kept teaching there for the next 5 years. So I taught there for 6 years. And then, and the other thing I think is funny is that God's sense of humor is I said I would never be an administrator. I remember
I did too.
My one of my first teaching jobs. I remember them saying to me,
"You told me that back when I was in your building. I am never going to be a principal."
Oh no,
I remember that.
Oh no, I said it to Kathy too. I know I said it.
You said it to me too.
Okay.
I would never do that. Yep.
Yeah. So
the Lord has such a way of going.
He does.
Is that
yes,
what you said?
He does.
Okay,
So
yeah.
6 years.
That's so
well,
funny. I remember
almost 7 years ago now. Our principal in the building quit in the middle of the summer, and my boss came to me and said, would you step in as interim? And I love the school. And so I said, okay, I'll step in as interim as long as I can have my job back when I'm done. Absolutely no problem. And then pretty much she made it clear pretty early on that she really wanted me to step into the role full time. And almost 6 years later, here I sit.
The rest is history.
That's right. That's right. Now, I will say I have been able to go back into the classroom in these 6 years, covering maternity leaves or stepping into a class. So I've had the chance to get back into the teaching part too, a little bit.
What of that story keeps you going? What is it when you think about, because I think I say to people all the time, people say all the time, well, I have to find my passion. I keep changing jobs because I don't find my passion, which I think is the most ridiculous thing. I think that's a pat cliche thing we say. I do. Because I think passion is more about purpose. When you have a purpose in what you do.
Well, I think your purpose is your passion.
That's it.
It is, yes.
I think people think passion is this like grandiose, I'm going to wake up each day and go, I love teaching. I did not do that.
Right. We love reading, right?
That's right.
So we kind of tweaked it and turned it into, we have a passion for reading, of course.
I have a passion for teaching. I have a passion for kids. I have a passion for being there. But there are days when that alarm went off at 5:45, I could have wielded it.
Oh, absolutely.
So how did you find your why? What is your why? What is it that and why is that so important?
My why is always the kids.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of paperwork at being a principal. And so,
people do not get that.
No, they don't.
I would just like for them to have them follow me one day. Yeah. Just.
Especially right now, I feel like there's so many things to do that I'm in my office a lot more than I want to be.
For sure.
But I will say I find the most joy from going out in the hallways and standing in the mornings as kids come in. So the why is always the kids. And also recognizing that for some kids, school is the only safe space. It's the
Mm.
only place where they feel supported and loved and comfortable.
And nurtured.
And that we have to have that place. And so the why has always been the kids. And they do, even the kids, even when they're in trouble, getting to talk to kids one-on-one, finding out what's going on in their lives, that's why I do what I do.
Thanks for listening to Tools for Success podcast. What if 1 minute could change your day? A Gentle Walk, the new faith-based journal by our founder, Kathy Tooley, offers one prompt, one prayer, one small step closer to God. Start your Gentle Walk today. Learn more and get your copy by visiting Warren Publishing in the link below. Now back to the podcast.
So what would you tell a teacher that's out there right now today thinking, I don't know that I can keep going. I don't know. Because
Oh, absolutely.
and I used to say that happens at the end of the year. That's not true. There are teachers that want to quit in October.
Oh.
Or sometimes within 2 weeks of school starting.
Yes.
So what would you say to them?
Well, you need
How do the kids, your why, keep you going?
You need to recognize that it's okay to feel tired.
That's it.
It's okay.
Carrie.
You're not alone.
That's it, Carrie.
Find some people. Find positive people.
There it is.
Avoid the people who are going to bring negativity to your life. Find the people who know their purpose is for the kids.
That's right.
I would say that is
Because they're in your buildings.
They are. Yes, of course they're in our buildings. And I would say that's probably one of the reasons I love my school is that my faculty, their purpose is the kids. That doesn't mean they don't get tired. I see it. I know it. They're tired in October. They're really tired right now in May. They're tired.
Yes.
And recognizing that, and I always tell teachers, okay, when you're having those struggles, when you are at that place, okay, take a break. Give yourself permission to do something for yourself. You know what? Those papers will wait another day.
That's right.
You have to give yourself breaks.
That bulletin board can stay there for one more day.
It can stay
it's
there.
It's okay.
It
All
is.
right.
And to reconnect with that why, think about the kids that you've impacted. Remember your purpose. But you are tired, and you just have to surround yourself with people who understand that this tired is a different tired.
So there are people, Carrie, that are watching this podcast today, and they accidentally turn it on. Now, you and I both know that's not accidental.
Right.
That's not accidental. But today was the day that for them, they don't have one more story that can keep them going. Today is that day that for them, that they think, especially for what I'm being paid, for the amount of work that I'm doing, for the stresses that I'm putting under, for the demands that it feels like the state and my administration is continuing to push upon me. What would you say to them that we now know, having done it for a long time? Because we've had those moments, we have.
Oh, absolutely.
That made us turn our head around and go, thank God I didn't walk away.
Oh, Kathy, that's a hard one. I think you have to find the story. You have to remember why you did this. And you also have to think about and I don't know that everybody knows this. We have to know that we are impacting kids.
Amen.
And that we have that
Say
power.
that again.
We have to know
are
impacting kids.
Period.
And whether that's positively or negatively, we are impacting kids. And realizing how much power is in that, and definitely not in a power hungry way, but when we realize that we have the ability by telling a kid good morning, hey, did you have a good weekend? Hey, good luck at your band concert tonight. Good luck in your how did it go last night? When we do that, we may be the only person that's talked to that kid that day. We may be the only time they feel connected to someone. And so recognizing that power is within us, and we can change lives with that. We all could say there's a teacher that had a positive impact on us. Mm-hmm. And knowing that could be you could be that person for that kid. Just recognizing that you have that influence. And also, I think it was Covey who talks about, or maybe I'm wrong, I'm thinking about seven habits of highly effective people. When he talks about imagining your funeral. When I was reading his book, and it talks about, start with your funeral. What do you want to be remembered as? What do you want people to say about you?
Gosh, Carrie, that's so good.
And so when you start there, what is it if I go and I work a 9 to 5 job and there's no purpose in it? At least in education, there is such a strong purpose. I could work a remote job that has no connection or meaning
And make
behind
lots
it,
and lots
and
and
make
lots of
lots
money.
and lots and lots of money
And spend it.
and spend it.
Right.
Right. But at the end of the day,
What
are
difference did I make?
What difference did I make? What's the impact I want to leave on other people?
And I think we as educators are here because we know we were called to make a difference.
Sure.
We were called to make a difference. And no disrespect to anyone out there making a ridiculous amount of money and doing mindless work that they're able to
Right.
do. But oh, wow. I never thought about think from your funeral backwards.
Right. Well, I mean, I think too, if we're talking about purpose, right?
Right.
Then we know that already. I think as teachers, you already know your purpose. Most teachers know that that's what they're supposed to do. It's really hard,
For sure.
but they know that they have a calling to do it.
I do not know that I could add a single thing to that. Thank you for being
You're welcome.
here.
Thanks for having me here.
Thanks
It's been
for-
fun talking with you.
Ooh, so this series has, as we've talked about, been all about teachers, and so many of, I think, my podcast will be. I was funny, Carrie and I were talking a little off camera, so I'm going to put her on the spot a little bit, that I don't have any idea what the purpose of this podcast is or why the Lord wants it made. But I wonder, I felt a profound impact of no matter what happens in my life, and I'm sure Carrie would feel the same, the difference we've made in a kid's life is standing there at a funeral, something I could go home to my Heavenly Father knowing I've made that difference. It's like that starfish story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Made a difference for that one.
Mhm.
Made a difference for that one. We'll talk about a starfish story. So thank you, Carrie, for being
Thank
with
you.
us. So thank you guys for joining us for another great episode with another great administrator. It's been so good. So we'll see you on the next one. Have a good day.